Fear not, Ranger.
Now what do I do? Okay, this is Advanced Dungeons and Dragons video game cartridge.
Your dungeon master has placed you in a dreadfully precarious position. You're playing the most phenomenal game ever created.
Well, salutations, friends. Oh, I don't know why there's nobody in the boxes, but hey,
It's a
it's lovely.
surprise.
There we are. Hey, let's go.
Hey!
Salutations, everybody. It is lovely to see you. As you can tell, it is definitely more than just Chris and I this time. Mike might be joining us later, hopefully. He's dealing with a 1-year-old, but we have a very special, esteemed guest here. We have JenIsOnline. Salutations,
Hi.
Jen.
Salutations.
How's it going?
It's going well. I'm excited to be here. I'm so
Oh.
excited you guys wanted to chat with me about, adult pretend.
I do love me
Yes.
some adult pretend. Chris, how are you, my guy? How's it going down there in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen?
It's great here in the bottom left. We're chilling, maxing. It's all good. I'm excited. I'm excited we have guests, and from the little bits of interaction I've had so far, she's amazing. What I've seen online, some of her podcasts. So we're gonna hear from Jen. We're gonna talk about some stuffs today.
Yeah, we've got a fun topic. There was a question in chat. What are the topics tonight? Mostly it's all about Jen. This is the Jen show. Plus we're gonna hit up some build of the week. Some people voted on Instagram last week about whether they would rather see Mr. Krabs or Plankton done as a D&D build. I think Plankton won in a landslide, so Brewmaster Chris down there in the bottom left homebrewed us a Plankton build. I'm very excited to hear about. And Dungeon Mike again should be joining us here pretty soon, and if so, we'll cut back to that video while I get all of the boxes back. And if you're listening on Spotify, you're not looking at boxes, you're looking at the road. So drive safe.
Pay attention.
And pay attention. Yes, check your blind spots. Check your gas. Make sure you've got gas.
Check
in the
again
tank.
right now. Now that you're thinking about it actively, check a third time.
Yes,
How about a
make
fourth
sure-
time?
No
Can you look
motorcycles.
to the right yet?
Yes. Look to the left.
Or because they're listening in the future, maybe we have the automatic driving cars and hoverboards by now.
That is
So,
true. That
you
could
know,
be.
The future sounds really promising. I bet we're gonna have all of that stuff in like a week from now.
I was
Is your
about
car
to say,
charged?
what? Yeah, get on it. Science,
Yeah.
hello.
Come on, Tesla. You're slacking. Stop trying to buy Twitter already.
I hate it when that happens. We've got 3 episodes to put on Spotify now, so whenever this one's done, I'll go edit those, and then 3 episodes coming at Spotify all at once. And there will
Let's
be
go.
4 episodes, all for your listening pleasure. So, with that being
Yes.
said, Jen's here, Chris is here. So I guess Chris and I are kind of leading this charge here, just so Jen can kind of shine in the spotlight a little bit. So, you want to tell us a little bit about JenIsOnline and kind of what goes on over at your channels and where people can find you and who you are and all of that
All
fun
that,
stuff.
My elevator speech, huh? All right.
Yeah.
well-
Yeah.
Let's go.
Hi. My name's JenIsOnline. I stream on my Twitch channel on Sundays and Wednesdays. I do variety horror content as well as a ton of event streams, something called like Play Until You Beat It, where I sit and play one game that's about 20 hours long in one entire sitting. And we do it for charity. I love doing charity events and things like that. I also am a YouTuber, a TikToker, and just all around online. But aside from myself, I do a lot of producing as well as focus on the Dungeons and Dragons community here on Twitch, and kind of branching out into other spaces. I am the Dungeon Master for Feywild and Out, which plays here on Twitch on Mondays, but it's uploaded everywhere. And then I'm a player in a game on Tuesdays over on Architect Lum, and I have a podcast called The Overprepared DM, where myself and my co-host Nick talk with guests about what it's like to be a DM, how to do it right, how to do it wrong, but ultimately how not to be overprepared, like me, because I do it, you don't have to. Please stop. You're hurting yourself. And aside from that, in my real world, I am a licensed therapist turned marketer. So I work in marketing now. As of January this year, and I still utilize my license by running therapeutic Dungeons and Dragons games over at the Denver prison, and individuals in the recidivism program in Colorado. So that's super fun. Lots of nerd shit. That's me. Can we cuss? Oh no.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
You can cuss. It's PG-13, so.
I get
Yes.
one F word.
You get
or
one.
two.
You get one. Or,
One.
or two.
You know what? You're our special guest, and you're our first official guest of the Investigation Check 2.0.
That is so cool.
So you can
I'm
have
so
a special
honored.
F-bomb just for that.
Oh, thanks.
You gotta save it though. Make sure.
I gotta
it's
save
used
it. I
for
was about
the
to.
right
I was about to
moment.
blow it immediately, and then it's gonna slip out. I just know myself. So, but yeah, that's all about me. I do a lot.
Yeah,
Jen
and
You
Online
do a lot.
Is what it do be.
Yeah, for all our listeners, I told you she's really awesome. Did you not hear all of those things? She streams, she plays, she teaches people about D&D. She does a charity thing, charity therapeutic game for those that the Denver prison. Like, wow, like she's an awesome person. So you
Thanks.
can see why we have her here as a guest. So I want to hear a little bit about some of these. So
Yeah.
first, tell me about your stream where you're the DM for
Yeah.
Feywild now. Yeah,
Yeah.
tell
Totally.
us a little bit about that. Is
Well,
that Homebrew World? What's going on there?
it is homebrew world, but still following D&D 5e rules as written for the most part. I have a couple homebrew rules that I enjoy, so I run them. Otherwise, the really only homebrew aspect about it is the lore and kind of like what I think fits where and what. But it's a brand new channel. It's about 4 months old now. I was priorly streaming on another channel that I also started for 2 years, and we split into 2 different channels. And so this one's now my second project baby, and we're slowly starting a new game. Unfortunately we streamed 2 games and then had to take a month-long break because of people moving across the country, like life stuff. Just every single week was like, all right, we're gonna play another video game this week, you guys, on this Dungeons and Dragons channel. But we're back officially as of this last Monday, and we shouldn't have another break for a while. But it's
You
fun.
hope so. Scheduling is the biggest BBEG of all
Yeah.
time. So sometimes that can be a real pain.
Totally.
Cool. So and you have another where you're the player, and
Yeah.
that's on stream as well.
It is. Over on Architect Lum, they had prior a 3-year-long campaign. All of it was streamed in entirety. And they did some tryouts for their next game. And myself and one of my lovely friends, also a DM, tried out and got spots on the show. And I'm playing a wild magic barbarian right now. So that's fun.
awesome.
Yeah. Love
You know-
smashing shit and being the only person doing martial stuff in the party because everyone chooses magic and wants to be fancy.
It's magic.
Yeah.
Yes. I always am tempted to play the wild magic barbarian, but what always like makes me not is that there's only a few options on the wild magic table. Like I want
Yeah.
the wild magic table from like the sorcerer gets in the wild magic table.
Agreed.
They've got like a billion different choices. Like
Yep.
I want all the things as a barbarian. Like maybe suddenly my large maul turns into a giant plant or something. I'm hitting him with a cactus, and and that's real fun. I don't know. Like I want something weird to happen.
I totally agree. The wild magic table for barbarians is only 8 things. And one of them is basically a joke. If you roll it, it's a 4, by the way. If you roll a 4, you spawn basically a flumph, which is a little companion pet. And it's like, I didn't rage for a flumph.
It's like rage, man, rage, and it's just a little jellyfish-looking fluff
It's like,
thing.
what's up, right? I'm like, no, now I'm pissed. Now I'm actually mad because I raged and it didn't matter. And anyway, here's my +2 to everything.
So yeah, that's good. totally wasn't planning the agenda, so we're going off book here. Get ready. But I am currently making a new homebrew class,
Oh,
and one of the subclasses is going to have a very fun wild magic table, and
okay.
it is full of whimsy and chaos. Garrett has seen some of this, and I feel like he's holding in a laugh because of some of these are pretty ridiculous.
They're
Mm-hmm.
pretty awesome. I think this might be one of my favorite Wild Magic tables. Not that I'm biased, but also it's pretty dang awesome. I have to say.
It's going for like a chaotic madness, whimsy kind of vibe. Like
Okay.
I'm not trying to like cast fireball on some people or whatever, or turn into a
Sure.
potted plant. I mean maybe a potted plant, but um,
Adds to Wild Magic Table.
I would like to extend an offer to you if you have a suggestion of something that I might add to this homebrew magic table. Um, if you need a moment to think about it, that's totally okay. Or if you want to come back later, I just want to invite you to do that. If you
So
haven't,
my mind immediately went to the really old computer game named Toontown,
Oh, let's
where
go.
you're fighting boss bots, but they're like corporate. And
Yeah.
so one of the attacks that they do is they throw paper at someone and you get paper cuts. So I want to offer you some slashing damage through the way of paper cuts by wild magic. Just it could be like a AoE, and it could just anything like within like a 15-foot area just gets paper shot out at them, and there's just paper on the field, which could turn it into a difficult terrain if you slip on paper and grass. Bad time. There you go.
So I know you don't know anything about this class, but I'll
Yeah.
let Chris delve into how much he wants to give away. But you see, that's incredibly flavorful for exactly what the class is.
Mhm,
Hey.
Chris, I'll let you say
mhm.
whatever you want about it. You can keep it a secret if you want, but whatever you want to say, the floor is yours.
I will give a tiny leak,
Okay.
very
Tiny leak.
tiny,
Here, you're hearing it here. Episode 4.
tiny leak. This class primarily uses cards
Hey, there you go.
for a lot of
I love
things.
that.
So having a paper cut situation.
Yeah.
Death by 1,000 paper cuts.
Yes.
That's what I'm gonna call it. There we go.
That'll be
Uh,
so fun.
we've named it. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate your addition.
I love that. That'd be so fun.
I'll include a little asterisk. This was from JenIsOnline.
Amazing. You can even like attach it to me on D&D Beyond once you put it in the system.
There we go. Um, amazing. Okay. And I wanted to go to your podcast.
Yeah, totally.
I love the title first of all, the over prepared DM, because I feel like a lot of DMs, especially when you start off like brand new, like you're DMing like your first couple of sessions, the instinct is to go like ultra prepared, way
Mm.
overboard. I know I did.
Yeah,
Um,
me too, and I still do, and it's been like a
and
super long time.
I'm not a planner or a preparer for anything.
Mhm.
I'm a very much in the moment kind of person, make it up as I go. But like
Mhm.
I way over planned. Um, Garrett, did you ever plan anything as a DM?
Did you ever
Dude, have
plan
you ever planned anything in your life, Garrett? Well, believe it or not, Chris, yeah, I have. However, you see, I had this. So, long story short, Jen, I started out with this home world called Tenaria. Chris was there. That's how
Mhm.
Chris and I
Mhm.
met. I was like, if I'm doing this D&D thing, I gotta DM a table. Hey, friends, come DM. Let
Yeah,
me
yeah.
DM for you, right? And that's where Chris and I met on Facebook. And I mean,
Oh,
it was
fun.
love at first sight. It was great. So, Tenaria they started out in a dungeon with some Kuatua down there, Kuotoa, however you want to pronounce it.
Okay,
And
okay.
the story goes that they're trying to summon this god, and while they're in the prison, their mind is wiped because of the psychic energy. So they have
Ooh.
no backstory, and they have to kind of like piece it together through the clues that they get in the world. That was all planned, and then the planning stopped because it went too off the rails. And I said, okay, that's fine. Let's just do that. And one of my favorite sessions in the world was, as I was telling you before the show, I kind of everything was they were lost in a forest. It was kind of crazy. So we played Blue's Clues with the druid's pet raccoon, who was putting paw prints on things to try and tell them where the druid went because she was captured.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
It was amazing in every way, and it kind of has driven the rest of of the campaign, that
The
one-off
Yeah.
theme.
scenario. So up until about that point, it's been planned. Is it planned anymore? No. I kind of use the table now to play test stuff and to try new things.
Yeah,
It's my experimental zone. It's kind of like my playtest server, if you will.
that makes sense.
So to answer your question, Chris, yes, once upon a time before I was jaded, I was great at planning things, and then you people came and ruined my plan, and now I'm jaded and sad.
Well,
kidding.
Your
I love
plans
it.
and flipped them upside down.
Yeah, a little
True.
bit.
But for the record, y'all, planned or improv, it's been great. Just want y'all to know that. That's
I
not a
appreciate
shot
you.
at the quality. Not a shot at the quality.
No question on the amazingness of the game.
If you like whimsy, boy howdy,
We
buckle
can
up.
too.
Oh yeah, lots of that. But so Jen, back to your podcast, the overprepared DM. You've been giving out a lot of hints and stories and background about ways to not feel like you have to prepare as much. And I want to open it up, like, if you were to give me your quick elevator pitch, if you will, to everyone listening, what is maybe a number one or number two thing that could help not over prepare as a DM?
I would say my biggest thing that has become very system is bullet pointing your plot points for the game you are about to play. And as long as you have that, you technically don't need anything else.
Okay.
That's what I think. If you have your plot points and you've practiced a little with improv, or at least tried improving, you can have a wonderful time and still go forward in your story. I also leave a lot to the players. I don't try to railroad. I think that's where a lot of the over preparedness comes from. Is where like you have this story to tell and you want to push them through that story, but really it's just letting them sit and feel the energy that you have provided to the table and the descriptions you've given to everything around you, and letting them make those moves, and then maybe throwing something at them after it's been 2 hours and all they've done is talk to each other in character. I love my party on Mondays, but they are role players. And I'm like, move forward.
I need you to get to the next plot point.
I need you to do something.
Sometimes anything.
They're also chronic thinkers. They like have an opportunity in front of them and they'll like talk about every possible thing that's gonna possibly happen before they move forward at all. And I'm like, oh my god, just go.
Are they gonna watch this or listen to this and hear you
Oh,
say
they know how I feel.
It's not a
Oh,
secret.
good.
No,
So-
I love them. They're all wonderful and very talented, and they've crafted very cool characters with very cool voices and have stories, and they want to tell them. And I want to help them tell those stories. But
So
yeah,
I do.
no,
I have a
yeah.
question based on
Yeah.
exactly what you just said. So where do you, as a DM, and this is just a personal thing to you, where do you find that the balance between railroad and like sandbox is, and how do you know it's becoming too much of one or the other?
I think the way that you can tell if it's too much is if you've crafted this plot point and you've shown it to the players multiple times, like you've trickled it in through a bartender or whoever that they're talking to, a bounty board, and they're just not interested. Like, you need to learn to just move on. If you are pushing them to the plot point, then you know you have railroaded them to your story. If you
Okay.
feel like you're pushing against what they want to do, and you're like, but actually you could just go do what I planned, then you know you're doing it wrong.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
have you ever been in a situation where like you had it planned and they just weren't biting and then you had to come up with something completely different or develop something that they would be interested in that goes off of the bullets and kind of off the rails and into something you did not think was going to happen?
Yeah, absolutely. A fuck ton of times. There you go. I've used it, and
Let's
it's
go.
the one.
F-bomb.
So much. So I would say that I'm definitely a very like gothic horror type writer. So I enjoy writing stories that have like this overarching plot. And wherever the players fit in this, they're the main characters. So everything kind of revolves around them while they go through this epic journey. And occasionally I get hit with a party that does not care
Mhm.
and just wants to be a living group in that world. The big overarching plot is not interesting to them, or they just aren't hooked by whatever I'm trying to give them. And they will instead go on a long quest and journey to what did I make up? It was they picked up a bounty and pillaged a goblin town that was ravaging the nearby farm, and they found jewelry, so they used that jewelry to ask the jeweler to marry them, and went on a whole excursion to find wedding people. Then they had to learn how to make friends so that they could have guests at their weddings, and it was a whole 6-game arc of them planning a wedding.
I love how you said
Because
learn have to make friends. It's because that's what I do in middle
we learn
school
how,
is we
yeah.
learn how to make friends.
Yeah.
How to make friends and influence people. Not
Yeah.
a plug.
Yeah. Well, most NPCs are like utilized as tools to a party almost. Like you're an information you are here for information. You are here because I think you're cool, and also you're adorable and cute, so I'm going to keep you for the rest of time. But you're not my friend. Like you don't know these people. So they had to go through a whole journey of learning how to know people and care about others. And then they had a fantastic wedding after 6 games. And then decided to pick up the plot. And I was
That is
like,
quite the
great.
side quest.
I was like, great. Now the plot is 6 days ahead of you and has gotten a lot larger of a problem. Good job.
But they're
Yeah, it's-
married now, so it's
Yep.
happily ever
They're
after.
happy.
The end is nigh, nigher now.
The end is more nigh now. Yes.
More nigh sounds too grammatically correct. I need them to sense the urgency. It's nigher.
No, it's true. I mean, at the end of the day, like they can do whatever they want, and I can just make up stuff on the spot, whether it's super good in my mind or if it's like really stupid, whatever. Usually, everyone walks away from an improv game like that was the funnest game we've ever had, and I'm like throwing all my papers that I've planned for months in the air. Like, okay, we care about like Boblin the Goblin, but we don't care about my long story of your journey to. So-
Boblin the Goblin.
I
the
can
old
totally
Boblin.
relate.
Yep.
I care more about Dredgery the giraffe. That was my animal companion. That the other DM at our table said was not strong enough to carry my large hippo ass. So it's very disappointed. Anyway.
Oh, sad. Yeah, the world moves on whether you take on the main quest or not. That's where my point was getting to.
Which is facts. So I want to go back to something you said, and this is something you've referenced on the podcast a couple of times. Is about your gothic horror. You really like the darkness themes.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I'm vibing with you on that.
Yeah.
Tell me, or share with us, or briefly, the best like darkness or horror theme that you've had or facilitated in DM. Like you were either the DM or the player. Like what was probably the best one that you've experienced?
Let's say, I would say it usually revolves around the actual strength and fear that you can get from something that's really powerful. So I try in my writing in general to show the players how harmful they can be by providing really grotesque and real descriptions of the damage that they've done, or that what they're attacking is a living thing, so it's not just gonna fall on the ground and get an X on it on roll 20. Like, you're gonna learn a little bit about them. And then I try to humanize people in cults. I love cult activity. It's really gross and dark, but like, why did the people come to that cult? They have to have a story, and each of the cult members, maybe not all of them, there's always extras in the stories, but a couple of the cult members will have like these sad story backgrounds of like abuse and like really hard times or homelessness, like real world problems that bring people to join a cult. And it's so dark because it is a huge light shown on the negative aspects of everything that we walk around in. And maybe it's more of me being a pessimist and really enjoying sad things that make me cry, but I'll write about them.
Hey,
But yeah, I love love stories that end in tragedy. So those are always super fun to write. I don't love killing the players, but I do love killing someone important to them because I love the tragedy.
I'm not gonna kill you, but I'm gonna kill that Boblin the Goblin you're so infatuated
Yeah,
with.
or, like your wife that you are on this journey for, and you've been trying to find her for, I'm just going off the top of my head, let's see. You've been trying to find her for years, and she just disappeared one day after a raid, and at the end, your deepest fears actually were true. What do you do now? Like, you go through this process of grieving that you didn't think, like, you thought it was going to be a happy ending. You thought.
Or plot twist, she is the big evil that you've been
She
thinking
actually
that
rules the
kidnapped her.
cult now.
Yeah, you thought they kidnapped her, but she actually is the big bad. That's an uh-oh moment for sure.
Yeah.
Or if
Yeah.
you really want to rip out their heart, like they find her, they're about to rescue her, and then she dies. It's like it's been years you've been searching for her, and then finally you see her, and too late, man. Too late.
Ugh.
Villain didn't monologue long enough.
True. I would say the biggest thing that I really enjoy in like my specific kind of writing, because I see that you mentioned the wonders of Barovia in chat, Tabletop Misfit, but I actually really don't like Barovia, and I really don't like Curse of Strahd. I'm sorry. It's one of the longest, most popular, in fact, probably the most popular module of all time, but I'm just not into it. I want things to be dark, shadowed by happiness. So, like, you're in a normal world, and shit is just happening beneath the town, beneath in these secret areas, or some of the happiest people are part of the worst things. And I just enjoy that mask that is provided by the world of sunshine and flowers, but beneath it is doom and gloom, and everyone's depressed.
You and I think, Jen, are very similar in that regard, except where you like the horror and the tragedy, I like the corruption and the political
Yeah.
intrigue. So
Mm.
like the Gilded Age and Prohibition, and I mean that's where Story Always comes out of, is those kinds of stories of corruption in New
sure.
York and bootleggers in Arkansas and all of that kind of the vibes. But
Yeah.
over the like the Gilded Age, it's over a sunshine, happy go lucky time, but underneath the surface, it's jacked up, right? So
Yeah.
we're not so different, you and I.
I mean, a great like modern example would be the most recent Disney movie. Is it Encanto? Is
Yeah.
that the name of the movie?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, where it's a happy like family that's doing family things, but in fact they've actually ousted an entire family member because of a curse.
Mhm.
And like that, I love that. I'm like, you're actually damaged. I'm num delicious.
They're all messed up, all of them.
Yep,
in
everyone's
different
messed up.
ways.
That's
Yeah,
what I
and
like. It's when there's a flip of the coin and it's depression.
I am right there with you. I vibe on that very much so. I like to have very realistic darkness in my stories and my settings and campaigns, things like that, because it makes it feel more more everything. Like there's that there's bigger consequences. Like we might have some jokes here and there, but some bad things can really happen. Like if you make the wrong choices, like those choices are gonna have consequences.
Right.
And Garrett knows I am all about putting my players into choices.
That's your
when I'm
thing.
running a
That's your
game.
signature, baby.
Give me an
And-
example. Give me an example.
And when I give them a choice, it's two bad choices. So we were. It was supposed to be a one shot. It was like a 4-shot eventually.
Yeah.
But essentially, I placed all the players into a situation where they could save the town from this terrible monstrosity that I had created that was totally unkillable. Everything was ineffectual because they're not meant to beat it. So they're up against this, and their choice at this point is they can die, let the town go, or they can make a deal with this devil, and this devil will take care of that problem for you. But
Deals are so good.
But whichever party member, and it's one party member, takes that deal, the devil can make them do anything he wants. And then where that goes makes the party have to choose, well, now what do we do about this guy in our party who's making some questionable choices? Because we don't know that he made a deal with the devil.
Right. Jeez.
So it got very interesting. We did have one player kill another player.
Ooh.
Yeah, that was intense. I resurrected them because I wanted them to keep playing.
That's good.
But when Emmanuel, that's the name of the devil, when he came out, the setting, like the whole environment, the vibe that we had in there, like the whole environment changed. Like I could feel the intensity, just everything got so deep.
Yeah.
It was very good.
I was like,
That's awesome.
Yes.
Nom, 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 nom.
Yes.
Drama and sadness. Nom, 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 nom. I eat it by the souls.
You're gonna make all bad choices.
The monstrosity, though, was the giant mechanical spider from the movie Wild Wild West with Will Smith, which he put that in there just for me because he once described this world as the Wild West. So now it's just Chris's Wild Wild West adventure, and he put that in there just for me, and I appreciate
It was
so
gonna
much.
be, yeah, it was gonna be a giant ooze monster, but Garrett made a request, and I obliged. You know,
I appreciate
that's
that.
what I do. I deliver. You want a giant monstrosity? You've got it.
Thanks, friendo.
Good luck. Well, sweet. Let's move on to the next thing. I want to test y'all's DM skills and knowledge. And what would you do with this wacky thing that I want to do?
Oh, okay. I love that.
Okay. So I like to be the player that brings things that says, "Hey DM, hey Garrett, I want to do this."
Do it. I allow it.
And that's usually how it goes. Even before I describe what it is, he's like, "Do it. I don't care."
I gotta hear.
but-
I gotta know the details.
So this one isn't as far-fetched as some of my other ideas, but I feel like it's pretty good. I feel like it's pretty good, and it should be allowed. So this is specifically around shields.
Okay.
You know, Captain America and his mighty shield kind of vibe. I feel like shields are underrated or underutilized.
Agreed.
Let me say that. I think they're underutilized. So let's say I am Bugbear.
Okay.
Because I love bugbears. I have a new obsession with bugbears recently.
Okay.
I don't know why, because I'm a bear. But, and I have a shield. I have a hand crossbow.
Okay.
And I am set by these ranged attackers, some with magic, some with random weapons, like bows or whatever. You choose. Guns, I don't care. Doesn't matter. Ranged, it's all ranged. And with my shield, I plant it in the ground, like a good old Roman soldier would.
Okay.
And because I'm a bugbear and I can squeeze into a space for a small creature, can I hide completely behind my shield and be considered behind full cover?
If you use your action to hide, you can do it once.
Once?
Yeah, you can do it once, and then you have to take another action to hide. Because if you're not a rogue, or if you don't have a bonus action that says you can hide as a bonus action, then you'd have to actively try to hide.
That's great, because I want to take this a step further. I wasn't done.
Okay.
I'm setting you up.
Okay.
So, with that, let's say I am a rogue. Why not? I use
Okay,
that
then
that,
yes, you
that
can,
cunning
absolutely.
action to hide behind my shield,
Totally.
even though
Do
they've
it.
totally seen me do this. Does that mean that I cannot be targeted by spells because I cannot be seen?
It depends if it's an AoE, I think. Because they could target the shield. That would be what I would say. And if they break your shield because everything's breakable, then bam. But if it's an AoE that hits the spaces around you, you can absolutely be targeted.
Well, so
If
an
they know
AoE,
you're there, but
if they saw me hide behind my shield, I mean, they could reasonably ascertain that I'm behind the shield.
I don't know. It's like object permanence. If you're not there, you're either
Yeah.
alive or dead.
I played Metal Gear Solid, so you know.
Hide in a box. Like, I'm just gonna use my cardboard box here. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
progress.
And then they forget you're
Who's
there.
that?
Object
Mhm.
permanence.
So like, if they wanted to be like, haha, I'm going to cast this spell on you because I'm a wizard and I've got all these cool spells. You need to make a saving throw, and I'd be like, but you can't see me. Ha ha ha! In your face, wizard.
Yeah.
But they can shoot me with a fireball. I mean, I guess that's totally fair game.
That would be what I would say. It's like if it's an AoE that would fill a space that you would inevitably get hit by, then you can get hit. For
That's
sure.
great, because I want to take this another step further.
Okay.
I'm not done yet. So
Okay.
I'm no longer a bugbear.
Got it.
Instead, I am the new plasmoid from Space.
I knew you were gonna say that. I just knew it.
Spelljammer. I call it Space Jam.
Oh, okay.
From Spelljammer. Do you know? Are you familiar with the plasmoid?
I'm doing a little, pulling it up.
I
can
love
be
oozes.
in about 5 seconds.
Subject matter expert loading.
Yep.
Loading.
You are an ooze. Okay, cool, got it.
So the ooze, it has a special ability in there. It's the pseudopod ability. I think that's the name of the thing. Where you can detach a part of your ooziness, and you can hold an object that's less than 10 pounds. Very much like Mage Hand. I want to set up the shield planted there in the ground and hold it with my pseudopod arm thing.
Okay.
And while that's happening, I want to teleport back behind them, my enemies, do the damage with them, and then eventually teleport. Don't worry about the abilities. That's neither here nor there. And then teleport back to behind the shield. How would you DM that? Would I be hidden? Because I've technically am behind this full cover, which we've established. I can hide there behind full cover.
Yep. And then you
I
would
teleport away.
somewhere.
They see me behind them, and then I teleport. And now, what would you do for these enemies? Would they think I'm behind the shield? Would they
Probably
got turned
not.
invisible?
No, probably not. I don't think I would rule it that way. They would probably change targets to another person, to be honest. Or they would spread out and try to locate a little bit more, maybe get behind the shield type of stuff, like get more out and see more things, especially since someone's working the field. Depends on how smart they are. If they're goblins, they're gonna be like, what?
Goblin.
What's
You
going
ain't got no
on?
chance.
But yeah,
Is that your
but if it's
goblin
like
voice, by the way?
No, not at all. That's just me.
Can I get a taste of your goblin voice real quick?
My goblin voice. Do I have a goblin voice? Let's see.
Yeah, probably. Well, it depends on what's going on, but I think we can debate. That's a good word, right?
Uh,
That is a good one. That's a good one.
I think that's one of them. Yeah.
I like to
I
give
do
mine a
different
little bit more.
voices. I'm never consistent.
Me too, thanks.
Consistency, submissioncy. It's what lives in the moment. That's what it's really all about. I like to give mine a little French accent, even though I'm not super good at it. But they're goblins, so I'm
that.
just like they're dumb. So don't worry about it if their accent's
Right.
not good. It's because they're goblins. Great, because I'm glad you said all that. Because what I want to do is I want to be a Horizon Walker Ranger who
Okay.
does this and uses their ability when they attack. They teleport. They make their attacks and they teleport back.
Yeah.
So legit. So Jen saying I'm legit right there. They don't know where I'm at. Garrett, what are you thinking?
If they didn't see you leave,
Mm-hmm.
then they would
They
think
just
you're
saw me
behind the
behind them
shield.
shooting them.
Yeah. So now you're there. So if you're shooting at them, they're gonna know you're there. But if you were able to teleport and they didn't see you leave, they would think that you're behind the shield still, right?
Who knows what they would think?
You know, it also, like
'Cause-
Jen said, I think it depends on the enemy. I mean, if you're dealing with Tiamat, maybe they're a little bit more brilliant than Boblin Goblin. So
I love that you compared the strongest, most elegant dragon in the entire universe
To Boblin
and
Goblin?
Goblin.
the two
They're-
most
they're
polar opposite
basically-
foods.
They're basically on the same level. I don't see the
Oh,
problem
okay,
here.
okay, got it.
Yeah, I don't know much about the lore of Boblin Goblin, you see, so.
He's just out there
Uh,
trying his best.
Boblin is immortal in our hearts. Maybe not physically. He can die real easy, but in our
Oh,
hearts,
yeah.
he's immortal.
You can
Um,
smack him wrong and he'll break his neck.
I hate it when
Yeah,
that
so-
happens.
I know.
So those out there listening, be a plasmoid ooze, Horizon Walker. Teleport after you've set up your shield. Teleport behind your enemy. Shoot them at advantage because you're flanking them, and then teleport back. And they're like, "What the heck? Someone just shot us in the butt." And then they're not going to know where you're at, and you're hiding behind your shield, behind full cover. Welcome to coming to my power gaming session.
Let's go.
I feel like Garrett, just like his inner DM, just like retches at this because he's like, he sits at my table.
He does sit at my table.
That's so funny.
See, everybody else is like, I go for the leg and I slice it. And Chris is like,
Right.
let me do this mathematical equation here. And then he all
Love
of a
that
sudden
it's
has 30
mathematical.
dice in his hand and he drops them and he's like, I did 500 damage. Oh, it's just a shadow now. It just no longer exist. It did exist and now it doesn't.
I am ready to kill your thing so I can go back to stealing food and getting shiny objects.
Shiny objects, of course.
This is
That's
this is
trouble.
my point in life. It is not to have extended combat.
This isn't here nor there, but Chris plays a character named Trouble, and Chris
Okay.
plays Trouble in several campaigns, but they're all different Troubles. So there's this multiverse of Troubles, and
I love that.
I as well love that. He's a Hadozi in Storielus, and he's a Halfling in Tenaria, and he's also a crowing a rooster in all of them because when the day begins, it always begins with a crowing rooster, and we decided that's Trouble too. So there's many variants of
Good
our
stuff,
Trouble
good
friend.
stuff.
Absolutely.
Which fits into his multiple personality disorder. So
That's true.
There you go.
All right. Well, now that y'all have approved my abomination, let's go on to
Now
something.
that I'm correct, let's move on.
Let's move on to something a little bit more lighthearted. Let's talk about Plankton from SpongeBob.
Plankton.
Oh, let's go. Let's do it.
So
Okay.
Brewmaster Chris,
I-
what'd you brew us up? I need to know. Show us what you got.
What'd you
So
give us?
we've got something interesting. You know, I had to tinker around with this one quite a bit because it's difficult because Plankton, you know, gotta love him, but he's not very good.
No.
Both morally and competently. He's just not very good. He does a lot of things, but none of them very well. Um, but I would like to hear what is your take? Not, you don't have to tell about class or anything like that, but just things about Plankton because one, I didn't really watch the show,
Okay.
SpongeBob very much. I've
Let's see.
seen some episodes, but what is your take on Plankton? And I just want to make sure one that I kind of got the vibe right. But y'all, what are your thoughts about Plankton first of all?
Garrett, what are your thoughts about
What are my
Plankton?
thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, when what's the computer wife name? I don't
Karen.
remember. Karen. So Karen
Yeah.
puts him in the little the recipe maker whatever to figure out what things are made out of. It probably has a name and it's not recipe maker. But technically, if you want to know what makes Plankton up, he is 1% evil and 99% hot gas.
Hot gas.
So that is Plankton, just perfectly explained, I think. Jen, what about you?
What are we doing here? We just listing what Plankton characteristics there are here.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
Plankton is
character analysis.
I would say neutral evil and is not actually evil. He just wants a hug. And so he would be easily transformed to chaotic good for someone who would show him any form of love that wasn't Karen, and
For a
then
hug.
his chum bucket was worth it, or give him a hug, and then he would destroy in their name because he would assume that that was what was good. He's very misguided.
That's a good word.
He's also
Misguided.
an inventor. Gives me artificer vibes. Maybe his steel defender is Karen. But she can't move. Let's see. He's competitive and he is the small and adorable one in the party that wants to be seen as very serious and taking things seriously, and but they're not because he's cute.
I think you totally nailed it. And spoiler alert, you might have touched on one of the things or two of the things. So we might have some alignment here.
Okay,
Speaking
okay.
of alignment, I went neutral evil as well. Um,
Well.
yes,
Nice.
because he is only 1% evil, so he's not like kind of evil. He's not real evil.
He tries.
He's not very good at it either. So
He's
chaotic
the kind
good.
of person that likes drama. They're not evil, but they're annoying for liking drama and seeking it out, maybe causing it.
I mean, that's why his computer wife is named Karen. I
Yep.
mean, come on, and
Says
that was
it
even
all.
before its time. I mean, so he's a visionary. So Plankton, making good old Plankton, buddy. Down there in Bikini Bottom, nobody appreciates the genius that is Plankton, right? He makes computers. He has all these great inventions, but the people of Bikini Bottom, they don't need that. What do they need? They need Krabby Patties. Dang it, that's what they need.
True.
Let's go.
Because he has built this amazing AI that in our real world would be amazing. I bet that thing could do better than Midjourney on some art. I don't know. Actually, some of that Midjourney art's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Um,
I was looking at that. That's pretty cool.
Shout out to Midjourney, by the way. But anyway, um, he's just unappreciated. So he starts off life as an artificer, very true to his inventive nature. And he does get into the battlesmith so that way he can get his steel defender. This is where he starts working on Karen. He makes the mechanical components, but we can't just stop there. We have to do more than just that. And I have to yell at my dog. Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Now she came to me. It's like, what did I do? Well, we can't just stop there. We're also going to take a couple of levels into Wizard. And we're going to go specifically Order of Scribes. Because I want the Awakened Spellbook. And Plankton takes his Steel Defender and his Awakened Spellbook, and he merges the two together
Yeah.
to make Karen.
I love that.
Yes. She is his muse, his greatest creation, his spellcasting focus, if you will.
Yeah.
She's his everything. But nobody cares. Nobody appreciates. I'm just Plankton. Nobody likes me. You know.
Pretty good Plankton
and
impression.
I thought it was okay. You know, like 3 out of 10. It's as good as Plankton is.
Oh,
Shots fired.
Lots of shots fired. And so because poor Plankton doesn't feel appreciated, he looks across the street and he sees the Krusty Krab being so successful, and he tries to replicate it, but he can't, no matter what he does. So he turns to thievery, and he further deeps into his multi-class, and he becomes a rogue. Specifically, we're going for the thief, of course, because we just want to double down on all of that goodness. So we're a Battlesmith, Order of Scribes, thief.
Trying to get that Krusty Krab.
And because we've multi-classed into so many things, we don't have a lot of anything.
Master
Like I
of
said,
everything. Or sorry, what is it?
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yep, that's what it is.
he's not even that. He's not even Jack of all trades.
Jack of some trades, master of absolutely nothing.
He's got a lot of tool proficiencies. I'll give him that. None of them are cooking tools. So
the poor
guy. I know. And we're only taking 4 levels in each of these, so he doesn't even get lovely things like extra attack or 3rd level spells. He doesn't get anything cool. But he does have, squat nimbleness because he's a tiny guy. He's got a climbing speed because he's a thief. And he's got fast hands.
What race did you give him?
Guess.
A grung.
Ooh, that would have been good. That would have been a good choice. I didn't even think about grung. I was going kind of with the hot gas kind of aspect. And with that, there were 2 choices. I was thinking Minotaur, because cows burp all that methane gas, and that would be funny. But I was like, Minotaur, that's way too big. No one would get that even.
The largest of planktons.
I know, right? That should just be super plankton. So I went with a plasmoid. And I'm just gonna think that he's a gassy goop, because that's fun to say. And I gave him some little features here, such as poisoner, because it's not on purpose. He tries to make food, and then in the chum bucket it just turns out as poison.
True.
So it's an inadvertent poisoning that he does.
Can't help it.
He just can't help but be terrible. And I even gave him a scheme. He has a scheme in play right now to steal that recipe from the Krusty Krab, for that Krabby Patty. And here's his scheme. He has the ritual caster feat as a wizard, and he wants to ritually cast the 6th level spell, Draw Midge Instant Summons. Now the problem is he doesn't have 6th level spells. So that's a problem. But what he wants to do, because he's not going to be able to get this done anyway, he wants to cast this, and it says you touch an object weighing 10 pounds or less, whose longest dimension is 6 feet or less. The recipe. The spell leaves an invisible mark on its surface and invisibly inscribes the name of the item on the sapphire you use as a material component. Also a problem because he doesn't have the money for the sapphire. Each time you cast a spell, you must use a different sapphire. Anytime thereafter, you can use your action to speak the item's name and crush the sapphire. I keep calling it sapphire.
It's
Sapphire.
sassy.
It's
Sassy fire.
Sapphire. item instantly appears in your hand regardless of physical or planar distances, and the spell ends. And just boom, that is his plan right there. That's his big scheme. It's like if I can just cast this spell, inscribe this sapphire, this sassy fire, if you will, because that's apparently how I say it now.
Sassy
If I can
fire.
just put the crusted crab, the Krabby Patty recipe on this here sapphire. There it is. Then he will be able to successfully do it. But the problem is, like I said, he can't cast 6 level spells, and he doesn't have the sapphire. And then he still has to touch the recipe to begin with, which is just a weird plan because if you can touch the recipe, why wouldn't you just take it?
Right, right.
But like I said, Plankton is not very good at a
Right.
lot of things, and his wisdom score is a -1. So
Amazing.
that kind of plays into some of the problems here. So what do you think? Do you think we've got Plankton down?
That's fantastic.
I think
love
that's
that.
pretty on flavor there, my friend.
Pretty on flavor. Alright.
I kind of like a little barbarian in him because he's kind of filled with rage all the time. And I
That's
just think of the scenes. I don't remember if it's the movie or whatever, but he's like sitting on the giant jellyfish and just laying waste to all of Bikini Bottom. So that gives me some like artificer barbarian vibes.
Good.
maybe
good.
that's late game Plankton. After he's been foiled so many times, he just turns to rage. It's no longer thievery anymore. It's just rage.
Rage. When he becomes the BBEG of your world.
I'm Plankton, and I'm no longer sad. I'm just mad. Poor Plankton. Anyways,
I know.
if
He'd
for
be trying his best.
for anyone out there listening, feel free to let us know how you like our Plankton interpretation there, and if you've got more suggestions, I'd love to hear it. Um, but as we
Crabs.
perfect.
None, but thank you.
No, it was perfect. It was perfect. And so as we draw to a close, I've got a lot of speed round questions here for you.
Okay, I'm ready.
The first
Throw
one
my
is
glasses cleaner.
what would you like for us to do the build of the week next week? Who in the universe is out there would you like for us to brew up next time? Garrett, you can also feel free to chime in here.
I would
Oh,
like
we
you
can put
to
that on the
make
poll. Jen, pick the universe or the
universe,
IP or
The
whatever.
Boys.
The boy. Chris, have you watched The Boys?
I have seen season 1
It's
of The
violent.
Boys.
I haven't even
It
seen
is.
that. I just hear a lot about Homelander and how he is the guy. So that's all I
It's
know.
pretty
Literally all I
good.
know.
It's very good.
Okay.
It's pretty good. I need to
Big
watch that
suggest.
next. Yeah. Season 1 was bananas. Like, I love it. I need to watch season 2 and now 3 apparently.
Yep.
So got some catching up to do. I had to do Stranger Things, so that's
I
impressive.
watched all of that in 2 months. It's great.
So good.
Fantastic.
So good.
So Jen, I'm unfamiliar with The Boys. So will you please pick the
Have you-
character in that case?
Okay.
From The Boys.
Well, then you can make Kimiko from The Boys.
Oh, okay. I remember who she is. Yeah.
K-I-M-I-K-O.
Here we go. I'm about to do a little more research. Might have to binge some of The Boys.
Or
I will too.
you guys can make 11 from Stranger Things if you both have seen that.
Oh, that is.
I feel like that one's too
easy.
I feel like it's too easy.
I need you to make a Joyce.
Joyce would be fun.
That one's a
Joyce
challenge.
or Will, because they have like a little D&D party set up with the main characters. My partner and I have really chatted about like what spells and stuff that Will would have. So if you do Will or Joyce, I'll be happy.
Will as a person is not a wizard. That's my hot take. He can be a wizard in D&D, Will the Wise, but he is not a wizard as a human person existing on Earth. I don't think. That's just my 2 cents on the matter.
No,
That's how you really feel. I mean, that's a good point. I'm gonna do Joyce, but
Okay.
you're gonna have to show me on Discord or some other time your take on Will.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I I I would really like to hear that.
I'm down.
Okay, some of these are a little bit more rapid fire. So
I'm ready.
this one I was hoping that Mike was gonna join us, but apparently he hasn't mastered the sleep spell, so we're
That's
gonna give
okay.
him a break on that. And this is something I've seen in some of the TikToks. So maybe you've seen it on D&D TikTok. 1-on-1 level 20 fighter versus the level 20 wizard. Who are you putting your money on?
The wizard.
Wizard.
Hmm.
Okay.
It all depends on distance, but there's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. It's a who. It's a who or who. So I'm gonna say wizard and hope that they get enough distance.
Interesting. Okay. Okay. We might be doing a session where we plan this out.
Ooh.
Because Mike and I have been going about on this, and I think it's the fighter
Okay.
personally. Because main reason that D6 hit die. It just
Mm.
doesn't do that wizard any good. It's not doing him any favors. So Thems is gonna go down, but all right, I'd like to hear your take on that. These are a little bit faster, I promise. This is favorites is the
Okay.
flavor here. But favorite class,
My favorite class is a bard.
bard,
They're very
Respect that.
versatile.
very fun class. I
They're
think that's Garrett's
versatile.
favorite class.
I feel like it's a good class if you can't choose. Because you can make a fighting kind of bard, you can make a magic kind of bard. Like it's versatile, and that's why I like them the most.
Bards are good at everything.
Yep,
That's
jack
true.
of all trades, and kind of masters of everything too.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Bards are ridiculous in the best way.
And you can get like crazy stats on like your persuasion and deception checks
Yep.
and things like that. So that's
Yeah.
that's always fun. Favorite spell?
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask me my least favorite. I was like, I'm ready.
Oh no, your most favorite spell.
My favorite spell. Oh no. I think I really like the idea of Tasha's hideous laughter. Cuz playing it out, especially if someone uses it, makes for really fun roleplay cuz someone's just laughing their ass off and like unable to respond. And in the tensest of situations, someone's like, "You're laughing now." And it's all this death and destruction of one person just going, "Oh my god!" Like cracking up and dying in the background because they can't stop laughing. It's wonderful.
Garrett, next time I cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter, I'm gonna need you to do that for the whole duration.
Yep.
Aye, Captain, for just the rest of the session. And we're out of
The rest of
time.
this-
All right.
And I cast Tasha's Hideous Laughter again and again and again
And again.
and again.
As you jump and glide and jump and glide and jump
jump
and
glide,
glide.
jump glide,
Oh,
jump
I
glide.
also really like Ice Knife
Mm,
because it explodes. If it hits or doesn't hit, I like that about it. So even
Yes,
if you
'cause it
miss,
still
you get
works.
an AOE. Yeah.
It still works. My favorite is Prestidigitation
Okay. Okay.
You do
because
Versatile.
prestidigitation.
I just like to cast it constantly and for any reason whatsoever.
Yeah.
And it is super fun. And the DM is always like, "Can you do that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, totally do that.
Duh.
Prestidigitation. Yeah. What can I do with it?"
True.
Garrett, do you have a favorite, Garrett? Favorite spell?
Favorite spell?
Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
favorite spell. Let me think about that for just a second. I mean, Fireball's pretty iconic, but I feel like that's cheating because it's so iconic that you can't really just say Fireball because even people who don't play D&D are like, oh, Fireballs. You just throw Fireballs around all day? You roll dice and
You're
throw
allowed
Fireballs?
to. You're allowed to like boring things.
Oh, well, great. I'm so glad.
You can be basic. It's okay.
No, that's a basic ass answer. I mean, the flavor of the druid can like turn a stick into a weapon and beat the shit out of shit.
Shillelagh.
Yeah,
Shillelagh,
Shillelagh.
yeah.
Shillelagh's pretty cool. I think turning walking sticks into weapons is fun. So we're gonna go with Shillelagh.
Definitely.
To not have a basic ass answer, we'll go with Shillelagh.
Shillelagh's good.
It's also really cool. Like if you could just imagine like a druid just picks up a random stick out of the forest and be like, "This right here, I'm gonna tear your ass up with it." And you're
Look at
just
the
like,
last stick
"What?
you ever see in your
Excuse
life,
me?"
kid. When you
Uh,
a whole new meaning to telling people to go get a Switch.
Oh my
Shillelagh
god,
it and
that's
kill
the
them.
I want to play that character. I want to roll the aged old woman telling their grandkids to go get the Switch. That's amazing.
And you need to use your Southern Tenaria voice with it too.
Now you go on and get
geez.
that Switch now. You've been misbehaving now. Perfect.
Misbehaving.
Um,
Love that.
favorite monster.
Ooh. Uh. The. What do I usually throw at people?
Goblins, always goblins. More goblins.
Goblins are so easy, but
They are.
I mean, cultists are easy too. I would say I throw the most cultists at people.
You got that gothic
But-
horror vibe though, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
That's super on flavor.
but like beast vibes. I would say probably like zombie trolls or like zombie ogres, the ones that have been like resurrected and zombies. I like werewolves. I would say that for sure as well. Something that has a stake in fighting it. Because if it hits you and you fail those con saves, you're a zombie or you're a werewolf. Or I think like I like those. It's dangerous to fight them, not only because you might die, but because you might turn into what they are. So that's kind of what I go for.
Gotta make some choices.
Yeah.
Garrett, you got I know you got a favorite monster.
Oh yeah, tell me, baby, what is it?
It's that Kutu.
That's them Kutus, baby. You can't not love some Kutu. I tell you what, down there in Southern Tenaria, they catch them Kutus down there in the bayou.
Oh no.
The Koatoa, I think is how you say it, but
That's
we like
supposed
to
to
say
be.
we like to say Kutus around here.
Kutus. I do love me some Kutus. I mean, so not only are they kind of like goblins, but they can summon gods with their mind. Like, okay, that's freaking dope, right? Like, come on. How is that not the coolest monster ever? And they're fish. They're fish people. So we got Plankton. Plankton may should have been a Kutu. Now, actually, so there you go.
Something to think about.
True.
I do love me some Kutu, but I digress.
Some good old Kutus. I should have jumped in the monster manual for Plankton. Man, now I feel like I need to rehash that. Anyway,
do it.
My favorite is the Gith Yankees.
Yeah.
I know they're a playable race nowadays, but
Right.
back in my youth,
Playable races can make great monsters, just like humans.
that is true. But back in my youth, we had to fight the Gith Yankees there because we got one of them swords and they didn't like that at all.
Them and their mind flayer buddies.
Oh yeah, that
me
was
some mind flayers too.
That was a great time. My dad was the DM, and he also didn't tell us that if you take a Gith Yankee sword, they're like bloodbound to like chase you forever. So that made a really great time.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Good time.
We love being bloodbound to the end of our life. It's fine.
Why do they keep chasing us? So next one, favorite homebrew rule.
So my favorite homebrew rule is one that involves death saving throws. So what I do when people fall to 0 is instead of having them roll, I give them a scenario and talk them through walking towards the light. And so I'll try to convince them to die because they will hear something that they miss, and then the further that they get towards like a death, they'll see like their mother who died or something, and like they'll have like a reunion in their sleep. And then I ask them, I'm like, do you want to save? based on this. Like, what would your character want? And it's like, do you want to be with your family in your village that got destroyed, the reason that you're on this rampage? And then the further towards life that they choose, the more they hear the battle around. But the less that they choose, and they choose more towards death, they start not hearing what's going on around them at all. So they have less of a pull towards like wanting to wake up. So that's what I like doing.
This is amazing.
It's
I would.
intense.
I love that.
I'm
That
like
might be my new
speechless.
favorite.
That's freaking cool. Yeah, I copy paste what she just said. That's mine now.
I also
Copy
like
paste.
I also do you can, as a bonus action, you can roll for your health potion, or as a full action you can have all of it.
I have.
I
that one.
also like that rule because
Yeah.
I feel like just taking a quick potion
It's like a little
drink.
swig on your bonus action, or
That should be, because
stopping
I
and
I can
drinking
do
it.
this number, or as a fighter, I can go. I'm not done yet. Hold on, and just keep going. Like
Don't need
okay,
any healing if they're dead.
that's true. That's very true. For me, and if I'm at your table, and you have that situation going on, I would like to think that I am Steve, the necromancer, who is socially awkward and is hoping that you don't choose life, because then I get to make my own friend. Um, and I'm gonna bring him back as a skeleton called Boner, because I heard that on your podcast and it was
Yeah.
hilarious. I started dying. I was like, oh my gosh, that is amazing.
Oh yeah, I let my party name a very specific skeleton along a path for like a dungeon because he's been there for thousands of years and forgot his name, and he'll be like, "Do you know my name?" And it's always something sexual, but the most prominent one was when the party named him Boner, and I just for the rest of the game was like, Boner says this, Boner that, like it was straight face, like saying Boner to a bunch of people like
That
this
is
is
very
naughty. It's so funny.
I would do that, but also playing a necromancer that makes friends.
Yeah.
I want to play that character too, but there's so many characters I want to play. What is your favorite NPC voice?
NPC voice.
Yes.
I
Or character
have-
voice, as a player. That's fine too.
I like my gnome voice that I do. I think. But I really like when I'm playing with individuals with deeper voices and then they do like a southern draw. It's like, oh. That's intense. But I love gnome voices. I love when people are not afraid to voice monsters as they're like coming out, and you're like the whole thing. It's great.
Well, and of course now you've got to give us a small sample, like give us a little taste of your gnome voice.
Give us that gnome.
Okay, well, we can take the components of your arm and completely rip it apart, but it'll come back and you'll have chainmail. Automail, actually. So let me just take 2 days to think about how I'm going to rip your arm off and then hopefully not go into fraud for surgery that has gone wrong. Everything's fine. And then let's
That's
see.
wonderful.
I'm not nasally, but I love whenever I am nasally because then you can do the like sick voice.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't touch you.
It's great. It's good stuff.
I love it. My favorite, and I hope this was Garrett's favorite because I did it for our table. Was our lovely Yuan T.
Let's
sheriff.
go. Let's go.
Yes.
Yes,
UNT
the
time.
sheriff.
Sheriff.
Okay.
Sheriff.
You see now, I'm the sheriff in these here parts, and oh wow, easy there. I don't want you to cause a bunch of trouble. And I decided that his name is Christopher Slytherin
Amazing.
because
He's
he
Slytherin
can't.
in.
because he can't walk. So he's not Christopher Walken. He's Christopher Slytherin.
It's a layered
So-
joke.
There's layers to it, and sometimes he goes, ooh, his, oh my, I'm a snake.
That's good. I
It
also
was
really like when people hold their S's on Yonties.
mm,
When they just decide that everything with an S ends in like a
yes.
Yes, I actually do's believes that. I'm like, this is so much work.
Like if you can mix that in with maybe like a New York accent, that'd be really good. But
Yeah.
amazing stuff. I want to work on a Boston accent for Story Ellis, Garrett.
Thought we could go
let's
and get some
go.
coffees.
That's
Tell me
that's what I
Trouble's not
really
from
want.
Brooklyn, dude. Come on.
No, Boston. I want him to sound like JFK taking on the mob.
Good.
That's
Okay.
yeah, I know, right? I was like, oh my god, that fits so good for a mafia mob party political intrigue. So that might happen. You just be ready for it.
I'm ready.
And then this is the last one. I know this wasn't very speedy because we really like to talk, but it's okay.
That's
this is the last
okay,
one.
I do like to talk.
Fantasy trope. Favorite fantasy trope. Because you said you're a writer. I also like to write as well. We like to do our campaigns. I'm assuming we love fantasy things.
Yeah.
Favorite fantasy trope, and it can be a cliche. You know, if you're like, I just really love the chosen one trope. It's just so good.
Yeah.
That's okay. Farm boy. There's so many. Now if you
really like enemies to lovers.
Mm.
And I also like what is a fantasy trope that I like? I like them all. Yeah, I'd say enemies to lovers. It's a big thing in fantasy.
Enemies to lovers.
Yeah.
That's a real good one.
And long travels. You have to leave everything behind to do this journey. I like that.
You must take a hero's journey,
Yeah.
if you will.
Oh.
It's almost like it's been written out into what a hero's journey must comprise of.
Comprise.
Yeah.
There it is.
Compose, comprise of, there's
All
lots
of it.
Garrett, do you have a favorite fantasy trope you want to share?
I'm a fan of the mysterious MacGuffin myself. The One Ring or the shitty dagger that you hold at the Death Star and it's a map all of a sudden. It decided right then. I'm not a fan of that one. I don't know if you could tell, but like the One Ring kind of thing where it's like, oh, nobody knows, and like unexplained magic is kind of cool too. Gandalf.
Yeah.
I think not to diss on Sanderson because Sanderson's great. I just don't think magic needs to be 100% explained all the time. I think that Gandalf can do whatever Gandalf wants to do is totally fine because he's a wizard. The whole magic system's soft and hard. I think sometimes they can kind of get in the way of the story. That's
You're
just
reminding
my
me of something
hot
I
take.
really like about magic. I really
Teach
like
me magic.
Avatar. And I really like the same trope happened in The Dragon Prince, where your powers are stronger during a certain season or event in weather.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
I really like
I respect
that
that.
a lot. Like the Fire Tribe in Fire Clan tribe, I don't remember. In Avatar, like
Nation.
when they had what was it, like a heat wave
The
or
comet.
something the comet went by and they were stronger on that specific day, and then the same thing happened with
Full moon for the
moons. Yeah, probably the full moon.
the waterbenders
tribes, yeah.
thing.
And there's in the Dragon Prince, there's moon elves where they're stronger at night, and I just think that's super cool. Like during the day, they're basically not strong at all.
Yes.
Kinda like a
I
werewolf.
Like that.
Yeah.
Wow, it falls back onto my favorite monster.
Hey, Merry
Full
Christmas.
circle.
It all comes back together, and it's at night. It's dark, so we like dark things too. So it all fits together.
True.
Uh, for me, my one of my favorite fantasy tropes is it was me all along. Like the bad guy was like hidden in plain sight the whole
Right.
time. Like, and all along it was me. It was I who've done this. Twirl mustache. That's my favorite because then like you really get to know the villain, and that's not just some mysterious figure off in a tower that's got a giant eyeball looking at everything and like, ooh, I'm dangerous. I don't ever do anything, but I'm dangerous, everybody.
Yeah, can you imagine being a giant eyeball in a tower? That'd be embarrassing.
No.
Not even having the rest of your body or head. Come on. So
What a weak
embarrassing.
villain. Must be a terrible story. Worst of all time. Well, that ends our speed round. That took a very long time. That was super speedy.
Yeah,
Uh,
sorry. I'm chatty.
It was all of us. I blame Garrett. He's been very talkative this session.
That's me, baby. You know. Just throw me under the bus. That's all right.
I do that a lot, but with love.
Lovingly get run over on the tracks. That's okay.
This is
Good.
I
good
love
for
you, Chris. As I turn into giblets. That's fine.
But yeah, I appreciate you for joining us, Jen. This has been really good.
It's been awesome.
Chatting, getting to know you, and hopefully we'll see you more in the community. And looking forward to
Totally.
season 3 of the Overprepared DM dropping soon.
Heck yeah.
So everybody get hyped for that.
Listen to me talk a whole lot more.
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm pumped for it.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for having me. This was a blast. I'm so honored to be your first guest. This was fun. We talked about fun things, and you guys are great hosts. So thank you.
Chris, you led this charge very well, I have to say. So congrats to you.
I get chatty. It's okay.
You asked the questions. It was good. I'm sorry Mike couldn't be here, but next time he will
That's
be.
okay. Missed
the-
out. He did it. He missed out.
He did.
Chris, do you want to do the honors since you've led this so far? Would you like to close us out?
I get to do the closing. We have a special closing that I totally have memorized. And
Yeah, you got it. You've heard it enough to know it.
I know it, like totally. So everyone, thank you for listening. Feel free to join us on the Discord. We've got plenty of merch, all that good stuff too. If you want to support this stream as well, give us a follow. Also, follow JenIsOnline, the Overprepared DM. We'll have her deets as well. But y'all, until next time, may the wind be at your back. May your DMs be gentle. May the road rise to meet you. I think that was earlier.
It was, but that's okay. You're doing great.
May all your rolls be natural 20s, and may Garrett do this better next time. But thank you all for joining.
Great job.
It was good. Nicely done. And Jen, thanks for being on. And yeah, join the Discord and all that. And we'll see you next week, same time, same place, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central. And drive safe if you're on the road. So,
the road.
Yes.
Look at your side mirrors.
There you go.
Yes.
Check your blind
Not back again.
spots.
Look at
Very
your
well
back
done.
mirror. Side mirror. Okay, bye.
Yeah. So that takes us out. See you guys next week. Bye.